I'm attempting to unlock as many achievements as possible from my favourite Xbox 360 titles, and I already have all the gamer score from this game, but that won't stop me from doing it again. Last year I made a video finishing up the zombies achievements that I was missing from World at War. I then followed it up by doing the veteran campaign on my second profile because some people wanted to watch me suffer, and then I couldn't leave the achievements on that account unfinished. So I'm here to wrap up my World at War trilogy with a video covering all of the zombies achievements that this game has to offer. After World at War's release in November 2008 and the introduction to the Nightmarish Zombies mode, Treyarch followed up by adding 3 maps as downloadable content throughout 2009. The first in March, then June, and the last in August. Each of those not only had 3 new multiplayer maps, but a new Zombies map too. There was also originally going to be a map pack 4, but the developers soon realised that it would not sell well as it would have been too close to the release of Modern Warfare 2. And in this map pack, Kino der Toten was supposed to appear. So instead, that was released with Black Ops the following year. Out of the 3 map packs, only the second and third added new achievements, so that's obviously all that I'm interested in. And the zombies map from the second pack is Shi No Numa, and its achievements are a bit more basic. Not necessarily easier, but stuff like kill X amount of zombies, get headshots, board X amount of windows, etc. And the third added Der Riese, which has a bit more variety in the achievements, with objectives for both killing and completing more miscellaneous tasks. And both these map packs added 10 new achievements each. And as a disclaimer, what makes these somewhat hard for me is the fact that I never played zombies back in the day. So no doubt some people watching are scoffing at their screens right now, but for me, despite going through these last year, this is still actually pretty challenging. And I'll also no doubt be saying some things that are extremely common knowledge, but you never know, it might help one person out there. I started with map pack 3 and Der Riese, and I couldn't play zombies without getting Ollie involved, so we threw it back with some split screen. As a side note, why on earth did they do the split screen like this? Don't get me wrong, it's very quick to get used to, but why? I shouldn't complain though, I still feel very lucky that I've got close friends that will actually play older games split screen with me after all these years. Der Riese was the debut of teleporters in the Pack-a-Punch, a machine that allows the player to upgrade their weapon. There are achievements tied to both of these, but rather than list everything that I needed to do, I'll just cover the achievements in the order that unlocked them and how we went about it. This definitely isn't the most efficient way or anything to do it all, I'll make that clear now, but it worked for us in the end. The map is set in a secret factory in Germany, with the spawn location just outside of the factory itself, and in standard zombie fashion you can choose to open a selection of locked doors and gain access to different areas in the order that you prefer. We didn't really have a plan for which achievements to get in what order, instead just deciding to play a bit and see what we'd unlock along the way. After doing the first couple of rounds at the spawn location, we then moved to the courtyard area and camped out here, as this is where the mystery box will initially spawn. The power switch is also here, which is needed to be turned on to link the teleporters and access the Pack-a-Punch machine. At this point, we were just taking turns to use the mystery box whenever we had enough points and hoping for one of the heavy machine guns, the PPSH or the wonder weapons. And it's here in the video that I need to put another disclaimer. I have a good track record with offending people with how I pronounce stuff in my videos, and this one will probably be no different. There are 3 wonder weapons, 2 of which are easy enough, the ray gun and the monkey bomb, but the last one I've heard said so many different ways. The Wunderwaffe, the Wonderwaffe, the Wonder Waffle, the Waffle, and probably even more. So please let me know in the comments which one you guys have always referred to it as, and I think for the purpose of this video, I'll just call it the Wonder Waffle and hope that doesn't upset too many viewers. Now back to the basics of zombies. After a random amount of uses, you'll roll a teddy bear from the mystery box and it will teleport to a different spawn location, and that will be marked by a beam of light shining up into the sky. So here I was, off finding that to keep rolling weapons, and whilst in this new area I linked the first of 3 teleporters. Ollie then opened the door to the main factory to link the second, and to enable us to do these bits we would try and down the last zombie of the round, and then just let it crawl after us on the floor. Occasionally they dropped dead starting the next round, so we had to pay attention and make sure we were ready to run back. I'm not sure how that works exactly or what could trigger them to bleed out or despawn, so maybe someone in the comments can help. We linked the third and final teleporter, which unlocked the Pack-a-Punch, although to use it you need 5,000 points, so I couldn't do that just yet because we'd spent all of our points rolling for new weapons. I managed to get the Waffle, and we both had a PPSH as well. So we set up camp in the factory at the end of this little walkway and just mowed down everything in our path, and just like before, we left one zombie alive at the end because we now had enough points to upgrade a weapon each. And using the Pack-a-Punch machine for the first time unlocked my first achievement of the video. And from here, we just repeated the same process, dealing with the zombies from this spot and then upgrading our other weapons and using the mystery box if we wanted something new. I managed to get the ray gun, so at this point I had 2 of the 3 wonder weapons, the third being the monkey bomb, which is a grenade item, and there's an achievement for owning all 3 simultaneously. Annoyingly, Ollie had rolled the one I was missing in one of the earlier waves, although I don't think this would have affected my chances of getting it. And around this time, I unlocked my second achievement for opening all of the doors in the map. Another thing to spend points on are the perks, being Speed Cola, which increases reload speed, Double Tap, the Rate of Fire, Juggernog for increased health, and finally Quick Revive, which is pretty self-explanatory. But in this run, neither of us had bought any up to this point because all our points had been going on the weapons and their upgrades, and also for me because there's an achievement for reaching wave 20 without using any perks, but anyone else in the game can buy them and you'll still get the achievement. This is actually considered one of the hardest achievements in the game if you're playing solo, but with a partner it is significantly easier as you can basically just get carried. Ollie did end up buying them all anyway after that wave, and then we pretty much immediately got overrun and it was game over. Bit annoying because like I said, I was just the monkeys off having all 3 wonder weapons and another achievement, but that would have to wait. Our next few runs were all very botched and short-lived, so after wiping several times in the early rounds, we decided to pick some specific achievements to aim for. There were 2 achievements involving the teleporter that we could tie together, those being link all the teleporters by round 7 and use the teleporters 8 times. And like with all of the zombies achievements, these have to be done in a single game, the progress doesn't carry over from each attempt. So we played with those in mind, opening the doors to access all the teleporters around waves 5 or 6, and linking them doesn't cost any points but still actually activates the teleporter, so by standing in each one whilst Ollie activated the mainframe, I was able to tick 3 of the 8 needed off. And doing the third unlocked the electrician achievement for linking them all before round 7. But now we did need some points to use them again, so back into our spot we went, and between waves doing the usual leaving a crawler alive tactic, and then go through the teleporters until we had no points left. And at the end of wave 9, I unlocked the frequent flyer achievement, and now that was done we could start spending points on the box again. And on the first roll I got the monkey bomb, so I was feeling good about this run. That was until we wiped on pretty much the next wave, but still, with another 2 achievements ticked off, I couldn't be too upset. Next I went for the 40 knives achievement, which requires you to kill 40 zombies with a knife that's buyable off the wall near the main factory. Now I was calling this the Bowie knife throughout playing, but I've looked up online and I'm led to believe it's actually pronounced Bowie. Either way, it cost 3,000 points to buy it, but before I bought that, I needed to pick up a couple of other things. Firstly, some random weapons to get through the early waves, and then also the Juggernog perk. I knew having that unlocked, the extra health would save myself from some potential pain in the long run. But once I had the perk and the knife, we returned to the walkway and I got to work, making sure to still use guns to thin out the big crowds and not just throw myself into obvious death by focusing too much on the achievement. It only took a few waves to get the 40 required kills, and I was another step closer to being done with this map pack. The objective of the next run was to get the achievement for Pack-a-Punching 5 weapons, so a fair amount of points were needed for that. And I was hoping I'd get the 3 wonder weapons along the way too. I definitely got off to a good start because the first roll from the mystery box was the monkey bomb, and using one of those got me the Might of the Monkey achievement. Yes, that's right, for some reason when I had them earlier, I didn't even use one before we wiped. The monkeys act like a pipe bomb from Left 4 Dead, attracting the zombies to it before exploding, so they can be very handy in tight spots or attempting to get a crawler at the end of a round without too much stress. And from here, we just progressed like we've been doing the whole time, chasing the mystery box for the best weapons and opening up the factory to use the walkway spot. We also linked all the teleporters to access the Pack-a-Punch machine, and once I upgraded my Thompson, I shot at this little switch barely visible through a fence, and that activates an Easter egg for another achievement. You can do this at any moment as long as you're using an upgraded weapon. And speaking of upgraded weapons, I was just taking anything that was worth using to the Pack-a-Punch, so after the Thompson, I swapped out the flamethrower and instead took the M1 with its grenade launcher. The only problem with this was sometimes it created crawlers that we didn't notice and they would manage to sneak up on us amongst the chaos, but I kept rolling new weapons and upgrading when I had the points, doing the trench gun and the Type 100 before getting one of the best guns, the PPSH. And that was the 5th weapon taken to the machine, unlocking the Pack Addict achievement in the process. And the progress was absolutely full steam ahead now, because immediately after that I rolled the ray gun from the mystery box, meaning I was just the Wonder Waffle away from having this map pack completely finished. But despite our best efforts, the game just didn't want to give it to me. I didn't bother to count how many times I brought from the box after this, but it was quite a lot. Using all my points, then doing another round, then using all of my points again, thinking surely I'll get it soon, but I never did. Then on wave 25, Ollie got baited in by a double points drop and ended up getting downed, leading to me getting overwhelmed. My dying act was actually to roll one last time, but honestly I shouldn't have done this, because had I seen the weapon I need appear and not been able to grab it before going down, well, it's probably just best not to talk about that. And unfortunately at this point, Ollie had to go out, so that was the end of our zombies session. The final achievement of this map would have to wait for another day. And that day came just under a month later, and this time there was no stopping us. Doing exactly the same strategy as before, I picked up the monkeys early on, and I knew this was going to be a good run. Ollie did the majority of the door opening, linking teleporters and everything to unlock the Pack-a-Punch, and allow me to just spend my points on the weapon boxes. Obviously we didn't want to risk wiping, so Ollie also picked up a couple of perks to increase survivability. We had a stroke of luck when the box spawned right next to our holdout spot, and even more so when I rolled the ray gun. However, that luck was quickly extinguished, for me at least, when Ollie got the waffle. We had a look online and read that only one person on the team can have it at a time, so he very kindly swapped it out, allowing me to continue my mission. And we didn't have to wait too much longer until I had it in my possession, and with it, unlocked the Acquire Waffle Weapons achievement and signalled the end of our time with Map Pack 3. With the Map Pack 3 achievements all done, we moved on to Map Pack 2, the Swamp of Death. Shi no Numa takes place in a swamp surrounded by a dense jungle with 4 huts connected to the central building. Unlike the players, the zombies aren't slowed down by the swamp, so you really don't want to be spending long in the water with them around. This was also the map that introduced the Hellhounds, appearing as a special round every 4 or 5 rounds. As I mentioned a bit earlier, the achievements for this are maybe a bit more basic, but there is one in particular that caused me a lot of problems in the last video, and once again, I didn't have the easiest time with it here, so naturally, I saved it for last. With all of the achievements locked, we just took a quick look over them and jumped into a game, just to play and see what we could do without too much of a plan. Ollie robbed me of an achievement by using a nuke on round 2 when only 1 zombie was alive, but during round 3 of the first game an insta-kill dropped, and by knifing 10 zombies before it expired, I picked up the Big Brawler achievement. I did then manage to get the Weapon of Mind Destruction achievement not too long after. I'm sure literally everyone who has played zombies has said this before, but I really wish there was a counter to show how many were left in the round. But maybe that ruins the suspense or the atmosphere a bit. And speaking of numbers of zombies, next I unlocked Fertilizer Man for killing 200 in a single game. We hit round 15, but I missed out on the achievement for not getting downed up this point, because I got taken out like a fool a little earlier. We ended up dying not long after on round 17 to the dogs, and I was painfully short of the 150 headshots achievement, and I imagine I was also very close to Hammer Time, which requires 200 windows to be boarded up. Again, this is something you can't keep track of easily, but I just felt like I was nearly there after making a conscious effort for this many rounds. For the next game, we mixed it up a little and opened the stairs entrance inside the starting area. We set up camp at the opposite stairs outside the main building, and Ollie was patrolling the top floor, whilst I just held out in this corner, focused on getting headshots, and once I hit 150, popped the Deadhead achievement before wiping on the next wave. It wasn't only the Windows achievement I kept falling short of, there's also one for having all perks active at the same time, and I was making a habit of dying with 3. I did finally manage to board up the 200 windows in the next game and unlock the Hammer Time achievement, but once more we wiped whilst I had 3 of the 4 perks active, and again on a dog round. So at this point, very similarly to my thought process in the last zombies video that I made, I realised it was pretty pointless continuing to try and unlock these co-op, when I'd be playing solo for the Big Brawler achievement anyway, and would likely get everything on my way to that. To be honest, the more efficient thing to do would have just been play solo on this map for the entire time, but it's hard to resist the urge to try some co-op. As I said, I feel lucky that I even have friends who are still happy to play split screen games with me. Just to quickly go over the main reason for doing it solo, as I'm sure probably everyone is aware at this point, the amount of zombies per wave when playing solo caps at 24. In co-op it doesn't cap, at least not on any wave that I'd ever get close to seeing, so it seems pointless to me to deal with that and learn an appropriate strategy when I know that I can do it on my own. I won't go into massive details of the strategy I use for getting 75,000 points in a run because I covered it in my previous video, so if you're interested then check that out after this one. But to summarise, do the first couple of waves upstairs, open the gate, buy a Thompson and sit in this corner, buy and start placing Bettys and prep for the dog waves, open up other sections of the map in hope of finding Juggernog and Speed Cola, try roll the Wonder Waffle on one of the best machine guns from the box, and then start grouping them at the doctor's quarters before running back inside and mowing them all down. Simple enough, but it took a bit of practice to get back into it. I also found it to actually be a little bit scary now that I was fending for myself, which doesn't bode well for some of the horror games I'd like to try out in the future. Every now and then I have a moment that makes me wish I was recording my live reactions, and this zombie ambushing me from the side was one of those. I actually screamed at the TV. The first achievement I unlocked on my own was Perkaholic once I'd purchased all 4 perks, and then a few minutes later I got some more gamer score for reaching wave 15 without getting downed. But it wouldn't be long until this run was over, only the next wave I got trapped trying to dodge zombies on the walkway. This is a good example of why it's best to avoid opening up the building here, as enemies will spawn inside and can create this exact problem if you're not careful. But sometimes it's unavoidable if one of the perks you're after or the mystery box spawns inside. Before I attempted another run at the Big Baller achievement, I decided to mop up the others that I was missing. Firstly, Dead Air, which is a secret achievement unlocked by listening to the radio, found in the side room of the building that I was just talking about. And then, It's a Trap, for killing at least one zombie with 3 different traps in one round. Emphasis on one round because it took me an attempt or two to notice that bit. For some reason, I think the type of trap used needs to alternate too, i.e. the first zombie with electricity, second with the flogger, third with electricity. And with those done, there was just one achievement left for me. I got back on the attempts for Big Baller and didn't get very far at first, dying when I opened a new area and got ambushed from behind, dying when I failed miserably at running past some zombies, and most embarrassingly of all, dying on wave 2 in the starting area. But I did eventually get a good run going. I had the perks, I had the Wonder Waffle, and I was hunting for that all-important second gun. Ideally the PPSH, but any big clip machine gun would do. But in the turn of events, I ended up rolling the other wonder weapon, the ray gun. I thought I was in the money here, but I'm sure anyone familiar with playing Call of Duty Zombies can work out the problem that I'm about to run into. So blissfully unaware, I kept grouping up the zombies outside, making sure to jump to the edge here and avoid the deeper swamp, using the Wonder Waffle whenever I thought that a group might be blocking my path, and then running back in and gunning them down. The rounds kept ticking up and up. I was thinking I must be getting it any time now. I was also getting scared whenever the dogs appeared, although I was much better at dealing with those now. But the achievement just wasn't appearing. And then it hit me. These 2 weapons, whilst probably optimal for clearing the hordes, are absolutely terrible for farming points because they one-hit kill. So had I been using a weapon with an extremely high rate of fire, like a machine gun, I would have been done by now. And this was a pretty painful realization to have. I went back to the mystery box and the gaming overlords heard my prayers because the very first roll I got the best there is, the PPSH. And then within a couple of rounds I was dead after whiffing a shot whilst running outside. So yeah, that was over 90 minutes of my life completely wasted, but you live and you learn, and hey, this might save someone else from making the same mistake one day. Not to be defeated though, I gave myself a bit of a pep talk and mentally prepared to try it all over again before jumping back in. And after getting the PPSH nice and early, I knew I was onto a winner. There was a bit of a negative with Juggernog spawning in the comms room building, but after also getting the Wonder Waffle, I knew that the achievement was well and truly on. PPSH ammo was easy to rinse through, but with the ammo dropped at the end of the dog rounds and the occasional random one, I never had too much trouble. There was the odd wave that I had to use solely the Waffle, but I knew I couldn't get rid of the PPSH, especially not after doing it last time. And speaking of last time, I learnt my lesson about damaging myself with the Waffle and the dogs, so this time, despite sometimes still doing it, I did my best to get some more distance between myself and the target and not panic so much. I still had some close calls with them, as well as the zombies on the walkway near the comms room, and also nearly taking myself out of a grenade when I was attempting to down a zombie for whatever reason. But I continued to limp through, taking down one last dog round before starting wave 30 and shooting this stray zombie running straight at me. And that was the end of my struggle. The Big Baller achievement was mine for a second and very likely final time. To all that have winced through watching me stumble through my World at War Zombies achievements, I can only apologise, and also thank you for sticking with me. The good news is that's the last you'll be seeing of me doing it on this channel, and the bad news is I definitely plan on playing all of the Black Ops Zombies. There were actually a few achievements I haven't covered in any of my World at War videos. Firstly, the Carp campaign ones, and these just require a level or 2 to be completed, and I did record them with the intention of briefly mentioning them here, but I accidentally deleted that footage. Not my finest moment. And second are the 2 secret achievements for prestiging, both worth a whopping 0 gamer score. I can safely say, unless I have a massive change of heart, those will forever remain locked. So I'm confident in saying that this will be the last World at War content on the channel, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.